Please purchase a personal license to remove this message. The air was sharp, holding the echo of the Sphinx's voice like a stain. John stood between the creature and Jack, the Colt heavy in his hand. His eyes flicked from Jack's ashen, sweat-slick face to the Sphinx's immovable gaze. He felt the creature's contempt like a physical pressure against his skin. It wasn't he just looking at him, it was classifying him. An ape with a loud stick. The unspoken judgment sat in the air, colder than the frost. Jack's eyes were wide, desperate. His lips were a bloodless line, his knuckles white where he gripped his own unused gun. The message screamed from him in pure silence: don't guess. Think John, think. John rolled the riddle in his head. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. An echo. The answer was an echo. Every kid who'd ever been bored in a one-room schoolhouse knew it. But John Wayne knew a deeper truth, learned in 100 dust-choked alleys and blood-wet streets: when something big and proud corners you, it isn't looking for a correct answer. It's looking for an excuse. The Sphinx wasn't here to test him. It was here to kill him. The riddle was just the curtain before the execution. So John did what he did best. He ignored the script. A slow, cold smile touched his lips. He looked the Sphinx dead in its golden, arrogant eyes and said, "Bullet." The word hung in the silent air, simple and absurd. Jack's composure shattered. "John, are you wrong?" The Sphinx's declaration was a roar of pure, predatory joy. It was the sound of victory, of inevitability fulfilled. The ground fractured under its leonine paws as its immense muscles coiled. Wings of gold and umber snapped open, blasting dust and debris in a whirlwind. Its majestic head lowered, a cavern of dagger teeth yawning wide to scissor him in half. But John was already moving. He didn't wait for the Sphinx to pounce. He attacked. The Colt came up, not in a duelist's flourish, but in the workmanlike arc of a hammer driving a nail. He fired. Blam. The first round took it in the left eye, the molten gold exploding into spatters of dark fluid. Blam. The second smashed its cheekbone, porcelain skin cratering. Blam. 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 The remaining 4 shots walked a tight, vicious line up its snout and into its forehead. 6 shots. 3 seconds. No wasted motion. Just the relentless, rhythmic thunder of applied violence. For 5 long heartbeats, the world froze. The Sphinx stood, a monument of myth and muscle, now vandalized by lead. A thin, black fluid wept from the ruins of its face. Then cracked. A hairline fracture appeared between its eyes. Then another, branching out like lightning across its beautiful, inhuman features. With a sound like a cathedral window collapsing, the Sphinx's face disintegrated. It fell away in jagged, ivory shards, hitting the dirt with a sound like dropped china. The great body shuddered, the intelligence in its limbs gone. It slumped sideways and hit the earth with a ground-shaking thud that drove the air from John's lungs. Jack stumbled back, nearly tripping over his own feet. He stared, mouth agape, then a wild, disbelieving laugh burst from him, a sharp, almost hysterical sound that cut off as quickly as it began. John didn't laugh. A cold, seismic fury was erupting in him. The helplessness of the dream, the arrogance of the creature, the cosmic game he never asked to play, it all boiled over, pure and hot. He strode forward and kicked the massive, tawny flank. Hard. "Not so smart now, are you?" he roared, his voice raw. Verbal. He kicked it again. The sound was a solid, meaty thump. Again. And again. He was venting a rage that had no other language, reducing the mythical to the merely physical, punishing its corpse for the sin of having ever looked down on him. Jack watched, silent now. He didn't intervene. He understood. 10 minutes passed. The only sounds were John's ragged breathing, the solid impacts of his boots, and the settling of the dead thing on the earth. Finally, the storm in him passed. He stopped, chest heaving, sweat plastering his shirt to his back. He lowered himself onto the Sphinx's still warm flank and sat, spent, like a rancher after breaking a stubborn horse. Jack approached cautiously, as one would approach a live grenade. "We We okay, John? John didn't look at him. He pulled a battered cigarette from his shirt pocket, stuck it between his lips, and lit it with a match that flared steady in his calloused hand. He took a long drag, exhaling a plume of smoke toward the brightening sky. "Yeah," he said, his voice returning to its usual graveled calm. "I'm okay. Just needed to get that out of my system." Jack nodded, a wave of visible relief washing over him. Then his face pinched with practical concern. "Good. That's good. Because, the horse ran off." John took another drag. "Of course it did. With all your silver." John paused. He looked at the horizon, then back at the dead Sphinx. A thin, wry smile touched his lips. "Of course it did," he repeated, dry as dust. He stood up, grinding the cigarette under his heel. "Well, let us go get my silver back." They found the horse an hour later, standing fetlock deep in the still waters of a small lake, drinking as if nothing has happened. She flicked an ear at their approach, utterly unconcerned. Jack watched the animal for a moment, then glanced at John, who was checking the gear still strapped to the saddle. The question had been burning in him. "John, why?" Jack asked quietly. "Why did give such an obviously wrong answer?" John didn't stop his work. He tightened a cinch, his movements efficient. "I saw it in her eyes," he said, his tone matter of fact. "She wasn't there for a quiz. She was there for a kill. Right or wrong didn't matter. She was gonna leap the second she finished talkin'." He patted the mare's neck and turned to face Jack. "I needed her distracted. Needed that split second where she thought she'd won, where she was busy being happy. I needed the edge. I needed to kill her before she could kill me." Jack stared at him. A slow, genuine smile of admiration broke through his reserved mask. "John Wayne, that may be the single cleverest answer I have ever heard in my very long life." John met his gaze, and a rare, true grin, one that reached his flinty eyes, creased his weathered face. "Don't go spreadin' it around. Ruins my reputation." He swung up into the saddle. "How far to the compound from here?" Jack looked northwest and said, "I think about half a day's ride from here. Though we can reach there sooner if we push it and we need to. The preacher might write off Mara's death as bad luck, a hag getting greedy. But 2 dead guardians?" He shook his head, his expression griming. He know. He know someone is coming for him, and he won't be waiting with open arms." John nodded. He checked the Colt, spinning the cylinder once before sliding it home in its holster. He looked down the winding trail that led toward the hills, toward the madness and the poison and the lost child. "Good," John Wayne said, and nudged his horse forward. "I'd hate to disappoint the man."